Boom. Maybe. Microphone. Working. Awesome. Sweet. Starting a little bit late today, but a couple weeks ago I attempted to try to start painting Shang-Chi up on stream. Even did the eyes, which currently are very blacked out. Let's see. I don't know if we're going to get focus. But there are some little itty-bitty pupils in there. You know what? I think Adepticon here is throwing everything off. We just go for that flat black instead. Blammo. Focused. And we're just gonna have to go in with the skin tone and clean up the big dark circles around his eyes and stuff. But yeah, unfortunately had a family emergency that I had to be called away for. So now I get to get back to getting Shang-Chi base coated up and ready to go alongside Namor and the Defenders, and maybe even the Avengers now that his affiliations are revealed. I'm not sure which of the two Steves I'm more eager to run him with. The turn 1 charge, get a little bit of power, use the Thousand Fists superpower off of that is really appealing for a discount Steve. And then with Mighty Steve, getting better and better odds to hit the trigger on the spender is fantastic. So what I'm doing now is we're just going to pick up where we left off and finish base coating his red jacket in. And I probably should have had a little bit of a reference ready, because I'm not sure what color his boots are. I have a feeling they're like yellow or something, but give me a second. I was wrong. It is, in fact, just more green. There is a little bit of yellow on the boot, so I'm not like crazy or anything like that. But, you know. So, get the brush a little bit damp. Mix a little bit of water into our red, and just get back to work. I'm going to try to be a little bit careful around the scales and stuff, because there's some white lining to get done in the midst of all that. So, don't want that to get lost in the base coat and not realize the details that I need to pick out later. Some of this white trim is absolutely just going to get me, because it's even on the collar of his shirt. So that'll be a pain to deal with later. But I really have recently enjoyed not starting with a mid-tone red, which is what I have done on several of, for like these comic book reds that you want to end up really nice and vibrant and stuff. But starting with this really dark red gives a nice well, obviously like a nice shadow and stuff to work with, but also kind of just gives a whole different tone to the model. So as opposed to like somebody like Spider-Man, who's like super bright and colorful and all that kind of stuff, this one is able to be give a little bit of realism to the character, which is interesting. But also adds that little extra depth. But really what we're excited about for Shang-Chi is the fact that he's an Avenger and will be able to do all sorts of crazy stuff with either of the two Steves. What up, Quincy? Yeah, I'm going to go classic green and red. And then instead of probably doing yellow through here, I think I'm actually going to go through and pick it out with like some actual metallic gold paint to rock that a little bit. Be a little bit fun. But yeah, otherwise going for the traditional Christmas colors. I haven't really seen Shang-Chi in too many other outfits. That is also totally in part because I am not super familiar with Shang-Chi. He's been in like a couple of team-up comics that I've read, and then he's been in a few like smaller things and stuff, but aside from that, have not gone deep into the Shang-Chi lore. And of course it then doesn't help that the comics now are following the movies, and they've given him the 10 rings, and that's kind of like what he is doing for his main combat stuff. Alright, go through, add a second layer to some of these bits that we just didn't quite hit the first time around. Ooh, yeah, going for the Bruce Lee alt is very respectable. Oh man, now that you said that, I'm kind of excited to see where different people take this for just like being able to take a classic martial artist kind of sculpt and build with the nunchucks and see what people can do with it. He's not quite as of an open book as like Hulk or something like that, where it's not just like you can go and paint Maui on top of Hulk and it works. But yeah, you're going to be able to get away with some really cool stuff with that. And now I'm somewhat regretting maybe doing like Elektra and a Kill Bill kind of a thing. Go with like yellow, black. Could be kind of fun. Hindsight. Yeah, Shang-Chi Across the Table is going to be a real thing coming very soon. This Friday, I believe. So everybody needs to be prepared to have range 4 and 5 attacks to pelt him down ASAP is basically what it comes out to. Alright. Go in here and just... We'll be a little bit messy. Would like to be a little bit less messy around the areas that are going to be the white trim. Or the off-white trim. Either way, still a very light color. Don't really care if we get messy around the parts that are going to be green, though. Because they're already going to take 2 thin layers. Because the green I have is not super opaque. Yeah. Speaking of the green, yeah, the team tactic cards. Hulu. Part of me hopes that was like an actual real dream you had, because you're just dreaming into the future by only a little bit. Let's see. Go for the emerald. Yeah. one shade darker, though. Be bold. So for the greens, we're going to go start with a Wyvern green. Work our way up a little bit. But yeah, the Defender Team Tactic cards are all just kind of fantastic in their own right, which is fantastic for this set. I'm glad they didn't spread out the Defenders cards between the Silver Sable Shang-Chi box and the Namor Black Panther box, and just kind of let all the Defender stuff be in one box, so if somebody's just needing to update their Defenders, they have an easy way to go about doing that. But yeah, Shang-Chi just fits so well with what Daredevil is already wanting to do and with his team and stuff, so excited to do that. Alright, and oh, I totally forgot to base coat the gloves, but while we've got green on the brush, I'm going to go ahead and put down that first layer. Alright, so I'll ask you guys, are you more excited to try Shang-Chi in Defenders or Avengers? No wrong answers. There is maybe a right answer, but there's also no wrong answers. Because I am 100% more excited to give him a whirl with the Avengers, but I just don't know which Steve to even start out with. Get up in that little crack up there. Oh my goodness, Lego Terrain would be fantastic. I have had some crazy out there dreams. I very vividly remember, I think I was like in middle school, and I had a very vivid dream where like I had woke up and won some sort of contest or another, and I had managed to get a copy of every single Yu-Gi-Oh card to ever be printed at the time. And I remember waking up and being so disappointed because I did in fact not own every single Yu-Gi-Oh card in existence. So yeah, you know, I understand. Dual affiliate. I mean, you can. I don't know. With as expansive as all these rosters have gotten to be, I feel like the purpose behind dual affiliating outside of some niche cases like you have a splash for a specific scenario that you want to bring, or something like Winter Guard where you just have teams that are a little bit small and a little bit more specialized, because like at the end of the day, Crimson Dynamo on a D scenario just does not feel worth it. But you bring Crimson Dynamo and the Winter Guard on a E scenario, and all of a sudden you're like cooking with fire. Gas fire, even. So yeah, it's a little bit of a patchy first go with the green, but that is to be expected. Yeah, that's another thing with that particular one where, like, I guess it depends on which Steve you end up going for. Because, like, if you're doing Mighty Avengers, yeah, the Mighty Steve and Daredevil are extremely similar as far as overall game plan. Give you better punching power. One just does it for free once per turn, and one does it at a cost for once per turn. Kind of a deal. So, I'm looking at all this green right now, and I'm kind of thinking, you know what? Maybe we do black boots instead, because that's just a lot of green. So maybe we do black boots and we keep the yellow trim idea. So we're gonna deviate a little bit from the box art then. And that's gonna be totally fine. I've found myself that I've been doing that a little bit more recently, which is kind of fun on the overall painting and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Steve 1 is good. I am torn as somebody who, at the end of the day, if you give me a Steve and a team that's built around their leadership, I am a happy person. I don't need much more than that. I can run Thors in either of them, so I'm excited to play a quote-unquote Asgard list that runs like Thor, Mighty Thor, Loki, and Steve, and it's like, huh, what do you know? I'm affiliated as an Avenger kind of a situation. Used to do that a lot to the annoyance of some of my locals, where, especially after they got all the updates, I was like, hey, look, I'm playing X-Men with Deadpool, Wolverine, and Cable. Oh no, what do you mean they're all Avengers? So, that's been something that has brought me joy. But also very excited to just try out both Loki and Mighty Thor's new leaderships and stuff. They have some really cool potential both for the affiliation. It doesn't really, like, quote-unquote fix anything, because it doesn't give them that low-cost leader to really give them the versatile list building, but it gives them more relevant leaderships with dice modification, which is something like, man, Asgard has always been that affiliation that, like, lives or dies by the dice they roll, where, like, if you're rolling hot, there's not a team that can be better when they're rolling hot, kind of a thing. But if their dice just don't show up, there wasn't too much Asgard could do about it, especially after the first wave of balance changes. Because at first, like, Asgard was broken, and that's just kind of what it is. All right. So yeah, the more I look at all this green on the pants already, the more I am certain we're going to go black boots. It still gives them a very clean martial artist kind of thing, instead of, like, going straight up yellow boots. But yeah. Oh, Quincy, don't ask me that. Total transparency, I have not yet put Loki 2 on the board, so I cannot comment fully on that. I think Loki 1 will always have a special place in my heart, though, for his the shenanigans that he gets up to, the ability to trickster away from stuff. Counting blanks is also really good. Man, but Loki 2 seems really cool. Specifically, the Trickster's Boon ability to be like, hey, Killmonger, or Apex Sabretooth, or fill in the blank, really strong 4 or 5 threat character. Here's 5 power, go murder somebody, and score me an extra victory point. Is going to be a lot of fun. The leadership is super thematic. You've just got me gushing on Loki now. So I'll probably, at the end of the day, prefer Loki 1 where he fits, kind of a thing. I think he'll be great with the Avengers still. I think Professor X's X-Men will be really cool. And now, with the power of Jane Foster's leadership, suddenly getting to count blanks, or not count blanks, but count blanks with rerolls, rather, is going to be a really cool combination for his I'm a God attacks and defense rolls. But I think when I'm doing that, I'm probably going to be using Loki as a 4 threat and not as a 5 threat in affiliation. But slap that gem on him for Charles's X-Men or Mighty Steve or not Mighty Steve, Discount Steve. Gonna give that a little bit more time to dry before we go into that one. So I want to be very careful to not hit the sole of the shoe doing this black, especially if we're going to come in with yellow to be that trim color there. We can even be then super messy with the yellow and come back with a single coat of black to give it the appearance we want to end up going for here. Yeah, I've decided. Loki 1. Loki 1 is probably my preferred Loki, just because the play style of, oops, did you pay 1 for that? And reminding my opponents is, and not all opponents. The opponents who I get to remind occasionally, and they know the game. Loki 1 is not a character you bring against a new player. He is kind of an anti-fun character, but that makes him very fun to play against experienced players. Kind of a thing. And doing all that is just is very fun for me. So final answer, Loki 1. But I'm also very excited to play Loki 2 as a leader, and maybe in Cabal if he's affiliated. That'll be he'll be real good on a E scenario with Red Skull or something. Could be a lot of fun. Yeah. And I am liking the black boots. That goes along with everything else here. Sweet. Then we'll just hit the nunchucks real quick. And I'm not going to do his hair in a pure black. I'm going to try to start that off with a kind of like a blue-black mixture to make highlighting it not just the grayscale kind of a hairdo that you can very easily end up with. And don't forget the little nunchuck nub back here. And we'll probably have to do a little bit of cleanup, but it won't be tons. You know, the way I have his eyes silhouetted, yeah, he absolutely looks a little bit like the Boy Wonder a little bit. And the fact that we're going to be adding yellow does not help this case at all whatsoever that he's not Robin. Oh, that's fantastic. I hadn't even... Yep. Loki in Convocation would be really cool. He's even technically on the Team Tactic card art for the Bar with No Doors, because Loki goes there. But I have a feeling he will not be, unfortunately. I think they're going to keep it limited to good guys with magic-y powers. Even though Loki... The first Loki, at least, is kind of based off of the Agent of Asgard Loki, who totally is... he doesn't work to like evil detrimental plans or anything like that. So like, as far as that kind of stuff goes, he might as well be a hero. So yeah, once we start layering in some like skin tones and stuff, I think it'll help. But yeah, right now he is Shang-Chi, aka Robin. Do any of the Robins use nunchucks? I know Nightwing kind of gets close with his shock batons. But the rest of them, is it Jason Todd is like crowbar and guns. And then the third Robin, whose name I can totally remember if I think long enough. Dick, Jason. I don't know it. Somebody help me. Oh, John, you were totally fine. If anything, it's fun to just be able to see stuff like that sometimes. Alright, before my red gets too far gone, I'm going to go ahead and hit up these gloves real quick. Let's see, the glove comes about halfway down these fingers. So about like that, I think. We'll see. Tim Drake, thank you. And then obviously Damien, but Damien is more like a sword guy. Is Tim Drake still technically Red Robin in the comics? I feel like he's undergone a couple of like he's reverted back to Robin for a little bit or something. I don't know. His Robin is the one that I've kept up with the least between the lot of them. Something I am getting better at, but something I will recommend. Let's see, one instance where this. Yeah, I could see that. Do have it like a chain inside the staff, give it a little bit of extra weight, all that stuff. But little painting tip, I won't go so far as to call it a hack. But whenever you're not worried about like a super light color like white or yellow or maybe like an orange that's gonna not be a burnt orange, don't be afraid to overpaint a little bit, because that way when you're going back and then you hit the other color and you're like, oh no, this section was actually supposed to be green, you already have it painted in a little bit, which is very nice. But also, oh, I totally forgot this color area here. It gives shadow color for like those areas where you're not really going to go back in and try to touch up or highlight or any of that kind of stuff. Just preemptively having a color in there. So like right here, I didn't do it very well. Got a little bit of green that needs to come through. But going over just a little bit and then touching up with the other colors. Something I'm trying to do more frequently because it does save a little bit of time in there. And I also totally overstepped with my gold there, but that's whatever, we'll get it cleaned up. Cool. Time to block in that green a little bit more. Oh man, poor Tim. He's been going through the ringer then. I didn't know he had died at all. Does that mean like all of the Robins except for Dick have died a few times now? Because I'm pretty sure I know of one where like Damien died for a little bit. And then obviously like Jason's whole motif is kind of that he was the Robin that died at this point. It's kind of his identity almost. I don't know. I feel like if you want to get technical, they've all died because Nightwing's death was a big catalyst for the Injustice comics and stuff, for the separation of Damian splitting off with Superman. Spoiler alert. Though at this point, if you didn't know that, I don't think that's on me anymore. So, second coat of green, really solidifying that nice dark starting point for us. And I really like this green. It's a real nice, pretty, not quite ethereal, but almost, I don't know what the word I want to use, but I like it. It's pretty. Smooth and all that kind of goodness. Man, the Bat family just goes through trauma after trauma, I feel like. There is no rest for that crew. All right, Quincy, since you yeah, these are all the Too Thin Coats line. I am a big fan, in one part because of the triad system keeps it very straightforward and easy for someone like me who's not into the color theory stuff. Just being able to, like, I am all about becoming a better painter through like the aspects of learning techniques for how to use my brush and all that kind of stuff. But love it when somebody else can tell me, like, hey, these are the paints you should use for this because it turns out like this. And I'm like, okay, cool. But also, they're just really nice. As far as the quality and thickness and opacity and all that kind of stuff. A couple of the triads are a little bit weird where they make some either big leaps in color or not enough of a leap in some cases. But because I've usually when I start doing highlights, I'll blend like the base tone and the mid tone together, and it turns out helps any of the rough transitions that if you had just gone from one to the other turn into some very nice transitions, to the point where usually I don't bother going for the pure highlight tone at the end of it. I just mix the highlight and mid-tone together and get the intended results. But I'm also dipping my my toes into some of the monument paints as well from Pro Acryl. Because some of their colors are also really nice. Like their jade is something I cannot get over how much I enjoy painting, but there's just not enough jade things in my life to paint. Alright, so there's the base tones there. I'm probably going to wait for metallics like all together for a separate time, separate video kind of deal. Just because you don't want metallics on the wet palette, you don't want your metallic paints getting mixed in your water, because then you use your nice brushes with the metallics and stuff. At least it's what I've been told. And I feel like the people who say these things are smarter than me when it comes to this stuff, so I'll just follow their lead. Yeah, Monument's great. I've also really enjoyed using their fluorescent paints for some of like the magic and lightning effects. It's what I used for Loki's kind of bright green magic. Though I feel like I need to go back and darken down some parts of that and come back in to be a little bit more selective with my highlighting with that. Probably be the smart thing to do. Alright, get a little bit of extra water on here. And just give that a nice yellow trim. Yeah, we've still got a little bit of green showing through, so we'll come back through with the black once we start doing cleanup stuff anyway. Yeah. I'm quite happy with that overall look. Again, doesn't help with the not Robin trajectory, because we're only dipping further into his color palette. But I don't mind it. As far as the too many paints, I'm on that borderline of there's no such thing, but also I have way too many Citadel paints that I no longer use, so like to that degree, definitely too many paints. But like in some of the other ways, like as long as it's a good tool for a job at some point, like I don't think you can really have too many different things as long as they're all seeing use. Like don't go into excess with it, because at that point, yeah, like what's the point of what you're trying to do, I guess. Collecting just for the sake of collecting is not always the way to go. Like collecting and displaying in a cool way, yeah, do it, cool. collecting to have it in a box for years and years. Less cool to me, at least. Which is why I need to thin out both my Magic card collection and my miniatures collection, but that's a topic for a different day. What am I looking for here? Yeah. I feel you on that, and I am guilty of having gone through and gotten a lot of specific paints because it's like, hey, this color. I've gotten a little bit better about taking a look at some of the different paint equivalent tools out there that are like, hey, if you're looking for this, but you have paints from this other range, you can also use X, Y, and Z kind of a thing. Let's see. There we go. This one's not coming out super cleanly, but that's okay. And we're just going to start the flesh tones. And this is where the weirdness of painting on a camera can get a little bit awkward. But we're getting there. We're going to have to come back and touch up some gold bands later and stuff. But that's okay. Where I want to be really careful, though, is just around those eyes that we've already got painted in. Because we want to clean up the raccoon eyes, so that we still have a little bit of black outlining the eyes pretty much. But that's kind of the extent of what we're looking for. Just a little bit of a V down there, which will absolutely get cleaned up later. I maybe should have painted the flesh tones first, but oh well. This is probably the thing that takes me the longest in the painting of a model, is just finally getting all of the base coats locked in how you want them and just right. Alright, so looking a little bit less like a Robin now at this point, which is, you know, good. Alright, but I think I'm going to hit these fingers real quick in this last arm and call it done for today. Go get some Mexican for lunch, which means that it's got to be a good day, because any day you're eating Mexican. A little bit of arroz con pollo, a little bit of pineapple. Like, how bad can that day really be? I say as I know that, yes, days can still be very bad. But a little bit of Mexican helps. Cool. Hit this arm up and be done for now, at least. If I was not meeting people for Mexican already, I would absolutely go get some Chinese takeout, maybe hit up like a Chinese buffet or something. Heck, even do like a Panda Express. Get a little that like fantastic orange chicken going on. Maybe some Kung Pao chicken. Would feel thematic. All right. And with that, we've got our base coats locked in for main parts of the model, and we'll take it from there later. Thank you guys for hanging out, spending time with us. Whether it's your lunch break or just some downtime you had. Always appreciate it, and keeping company going through the painting process and all that kind of stuff. But see you guys on Friday for... I think I've got the Hero, Thor, and Sif character reviews coming out. Talk a little bit about them and how they play and all that stuff. Thanks. It's a good starting point, at least. Oh no, we got flesh tone on the base coats, man. They're rough. But hope you guys have a good rest of the week. Enjoy those of you who partake the Star Wars Unlimited release of the new set. It's real cool and fun. And yeah,